Ready to get started? We'll call the meeting to order. It is 7:02. The first is the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call.
All right, Ms. Bolenbacher.
Here.
Mr. Kilmer is absent. Ms. Compatello,
Here.
Mr. Hope. Here. Mr. Oliverio,
Here.
Ms. McCallnick,
Here.
Mr. Radilla.
Here.
Mayor Perry online,
Yes, here.
Solicitor Corbel,
I'm here.
Engineer Keenan. Here. And myself, we have a quorum.
Great. A consent agenda. So we have the council meeting minutes from May 23rd and also June 13th. We did not have a meeting at the end of June. We have the bill list from June 27th and also July 11th, and all the monthly reports that are listed on the agenda. So we need a motion. All of these are on the OneDrive to review. Motion to approve the July 11th, 2024 consent agenda pending bill list approval by Borough President, Manager, and Treasurer.
So moved.
Ms. Compatello,
Second.
Mr. Hope, any discussion or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. At this time, citizens may address the Crafton Borough Council on any issue appearing on today's agenda. Only residents and taxpayers of the Borough of Crafton will be permitted to address the council. Comments on non-agenda items will be taken at the end of tonight's meeting. Uh-oh.
Video.
It's blinking. Oh, I think it's still working.
Oh, yeah. It might just be dying.
Oops. 2 hours twice a month is this.
I know. This is why I buy rechargeables. I'm kind of like that guy so much.
There we go. Okay. Yeah. On non-agenda items, we'll be taking the end of tonight's meeting. Speakers will be permitted to speak for a maximum of 3 minutes. Groups of people will be required to designate a spokesperson to represent them before the council, who may speak for a maximum of 5 minutes. Council has the option to respond or not at the end of the address. Please state your name and physical address for the record. We have anybody signed up? Okay, nobody signed up. For anybody on Zoom, please raise your hand. Seeing none raised. President's report. Nothing to report. It's all on the agenda for today. Mayor's report. Ms. Perry?
The only thing that I have to report is that the police chief search is underway. The PA Chiefs Association is handling that. Applications are being taken until July 19th, at which time the Chiefs Association will review them and rank them and make some recommendation to council about their top picks, and it will move on from there. That's it for me tonight.
Thank you. Solicitor's report.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just have a few executive session announcements. First, council held a remote via Zoom executive session on Monday evening, July 1st, to discuss litigation and real estate matters. Additionally, council held an executive session prior to tonight's meeting. It was an information-only session and to discuss property. And then lastly, we will have a short executive session following the meeting to discuss a personnel matter and to receive advice of the solicitor. That's the end of my report.
Thank you. Engineer's report, Mr. Keenan.
Good evening. The first item on the engineer's report is the Broadhead project, which is a major up and coming sewer project in the borough over on Broadhead. And the latest update is that we are in the process of getting the bid documents prepared which are required to meet certain federal funding standards. Another part of this is the Marine Street. We had just received new easement agreement documents today, and we'll be sending them off to the property owners to review and sign off on. Next item is the stairs project. Currently the Crafton to Promenade steps have been poured, the site has been restored. And earlier this week, the handrail contractor has been out to take final measurements. From that, we'll be getting specifications to sign off and approve. The other set of stairs, Crafton, on Crafton Boulevard, those will begin full demolition on Monday, the 15th. And that's the latest with the stairs at this time. The next item is the road paving. Again, this has been awarded to A. Felino, and the latest update is that tomorrow we'll be having our pre-construction meeting at 8 a.m. From there, we should be expected to get a schedule of when the work will be going on and where. Next item is the pool bathhouse. Again, another major project that has essentially been completed. No major updates, if anything, to report, just some small final purchases. But that's it. The next item is a recent resident request regarding a traffic light issue at the intersection of West Crafton and Steuben. Basically, the concern is that the traffic lights are too close together, so that as you are heading westbound on Steuben at the Crafton intersection, and both lights are red, and then the one beyond that at Foster and Steuben, when that turns green, people waiting at the light before that tend to proceed forward and ignore the light that they're at. So, in lieu of that, we have they contacted PennDOT and asked for their suggestions, and their engineer responded back with two ways to potentially resolve it. One is to add what is a reflective border around the traffic signal, which is basically a 1 to 3 inch piece of aluminum that goes around the traffic signal itself and makes it appear bigger and tends to best keep your eye drawn towards it. That's probably the cheaper option. Another option was to modify the traffic signals themselves, where we would take the actual red light at the top and replace that single one with a dual light setup, and basically it just creates a larger light presence, but would probably be the more expensive option. I reached out to him to ask him for some prices and some more feedback. He's going to contact the contractor that had recently done a project similar to this, and we'll get some more information. So, the next item regarding the PA American Water main replacement. Again, this is just some water main replacement work that PA American Water is doing in the borough. Parkview and Crafton Boulevard have been paved, and Stair has been paved this week. The trench, final paving will begin later this year after we do some sewer work that is planned to go on the street. Another item to note is that the contribution agreement has been signed and sent back to them. That was in regards to $27,000 that we had got to do the paving ourselves. Any questions so far? We can move on to the C20. Again, these are major up and coming sewer work going on in the borough, and the item tonight of interest is the resolution asked from Alcosan for us to sign off on to go with the application towards the GROW grant for the C20 work. That said, can I get a motion to approve the resolution number 2024-06, affirming that Crafton is seeking grant funding under Alcosan's GROW program to fund the C20 sewer separation project?
Send
Ms. Bolenbacher,
Second.
Ms. Compatello. Any discussion or questions? We've reviewed this at several prior meetings too. Right, hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Okay. The next item is the Linden and Steuben signal light improvements project. Again, this was brought up last meeting, and it was asked for any review data, any data that could be obtained. I did pull up some information from PennDOT's PA crash information tool. And just some things to note regarding from a vehicle standard, that from 2014 to 2023, there have been 9 reported crashes at this intersection. And 2019, 2020, and 2021. 2 of the accidents occurred during these years, and one of the 2 were reported as an injury generated crash. So there is some evidence data that this is an accident prone intersection. As far as the pedestrian data standpoint, without having an actual mechanism out there to physically count pedestrian activity, you're not really gonna get good accurate numbers. But determining from this vehicle information, accidents do occur. That said, I'd like to remind everyone that bids were received and that the lowest responsible and responsive bidder was Bruce Merrill's Electric Company in the amount of $311,000, $311,916. And that this project is part of a Green Lake Road grant from PennDOT, and that money is $246,790.40. And that this grant does require a 20% match, which yields $65,125. That will come from the bond fund. Some other things to note about this is that the entire intersection is out of compliance, it's outdated, doesn't meet ADA standards, doesn't have preemption for emergency vehicles. And one thing to note is that by the time this project goes underway, the lead times that we will experience regarding the traffic signal poles will go into next year. So payment on those for this won't take place till then. Just to note. All that said, ask for a motion to award the contract to the lowest responsible and responsive bidder, Bruce Merrill's Electric Company, for $311,916, as recommended by Gateway Engineers.
So moved.
Ms. Contello,
Second.
Ms. Bowenbacher. Discussion or questions?
I do want to bring up since last time, because we kind of pumped the brakes a little bit, pun intended. Regarding some finances about the match amount. On June 26th, Finance Committee met and we did review the bond sheet, the budget to actual so far this year. In regard to the bond sheet, the $65,125 is actually lower than the amount that we had anticipated on the bond sheet. So it's actually less than we thought it was going to be. There was a bit of a discrepancy where the money on the bond sheet didn't make it into the budget, but ultimately that kind of ends up evening itself out. It's not really a huge deal. And from budget to actuals, we will talk later with the Finance Committee report, but we're like right on target. Everything that was over and under are essentially evening each other out. So from a financial standpoint, it does appear that we're kind of in a good spot for this.
Any other questions or discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion passes.
Thank you. Moving on to the next item is the EV charging. This has been a group effort between Jim and I think he'd like to present the update on this one.
Yeah, so we had talked I can't remember whether it was at the last council meeting or at the engineering committee meeting, but we had talked about being able to, first off, this is based on a grant. So we have $120,000 grant for streetscaping. And I have since talked to the grant officer. We are able to move it to a degree because some of the work that was initially applied for in this grant has already been built. It was built, was for Crafton Streetscape. So we're able to move the EV chargers. So I'm writing a scope and we're gonna send it in. So I anticipate being able to get the $78,000 to $80,000 switch to that. We just have to figure out what to do with the other 60,000 or 40,000, excuse me. We plan on looking at streetscaping and whatnot and finishing out some of the Crafton Boulevard streetscaping. That could basically, it's just going to be the plants and some of that materials. And then we have now selected 3 charging locations. So and we have applied for 2 of them. We're not committed to them yet. So I'll still have to come back to council and get a resolution or an ordinance passed or what have you. But we wanted to apply because we had to get in their fiscal year we needed to get in by June to get in their last fiscal year. And so we applied for 6 charging stations or ports, excuse me, on Station Street, right across from the busway. And then we're applying for 6 down at the park. And those essentially will be completely covered by the grant. The grant has no match. And assuming they allow us to switch that, from putting them all on Crafton Boulevard, I'll know probably within a couple months whether we can do that. So. That's where we're at on the EV charging with Allegheny County. And with Dukin Lake.
All right, the next item is the trail feasibility study. Again, this is a grant back project. I had put together the initial RFP draft and had submitted in for internal review. Right now, it's in the process again, updated based on those comments, and we're working towards getting a final RFP put together. The next item is the Public Works Building. Right now, the most activity is with the GP7 general permit, wetlands mediation, which is going on with the Allegheny County Conservation District. And really, this is going to help us. Once we attain this, we're going to be able to increase the area in front of the building itself by about 20 feet of additional gravel. And that's going to increase the space for contractors to come in and finish putting the building together. It's also going to allow for, when it's completed, the Public Works to have the maneuverability with their large equipment to get in and out easily. But right now, that's where we stand with getting that permit. Yeah, we did submit new documents to them, and right now we're just waiting for the response from the Conservation District. That said, we'll move on to the final item, which is the Crafton Boulevard streetlights. This pertains to the shields that were installed. So far, we've had 10 of them put on, and right now we're waiting for final 7 to arrive and install. That ends the engineer's report. There's no other questions.
Have the lights been turned? So which way did we decide to turn the
Turn
lights?
them over the sidewalk.
Back over the sidewalk,
Yep.
okay.
Yep.
And they've all been turned.
Not all of them, not the ones without shields.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, they will all be.
no, we're all ones without shields. I get to be turned, correct.
Any other questions? Okay. Thank you, sir. Good report. Manager's report.
Thank you. Mike, can I ask you to pull up a map of Crafton when you look up South Grandview Avenue? I'll touch on that in a second. The first thing on my list is the waste management the waste collection RFP. And that has been issued. Just want to remind everybody that we will be getting those results on Friday the 19th, so next Friday. I just noticed that the date is wrong on our on that, actually on both of them. Okay, so, oh, no, I guess that's right. It's just backwards. Okay.
How is that?
I don't know, but I just noticed that. I was looking at it. But anyway, so that's coming next Friday. And if he pulls up, we have a parking issue on South Grandview Avenue. It's down at the bottom of the page. It's almost exactly at the bottom of the page. South Grandview Avenue. It's right below Ewing. Go down.
Oh, sorry.
You see where it says Leon's music lessons? It's a dot directly below the fields, directly below. You see where it has Leon music lessons?
Yes.
Zoom into that right there. At the end of the street. Okay, we had a call from a resident. Yeah.
Are we able to share that?
He's doing that right now. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Sharon's right there, the green.
Thank you.
Okay. So, the people who live at on this
Thank you.
town end there have been parking face in to the backs of the houses that are actually on Promenade. So, it causes a few issues for us. For one, those people at the back of their houses now don't have control and they can't cut vegetation in the back of their houses because cars are literally parked in them, which is not legal on that street. If you actually do a street view, I can show you exactly, because you probably have cars parked like that right now on the street view. Yeah, see, On the left, see how that car is parked? That car should be parked parallel. And it's parked head in. If you zoom, yeah, go a little bit further, you'll be able to see it. Oh, that's weird. And it's not there now. But anyway, so.
They moved.
They heard us.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm bringing this up because I told the residents that we were going to switch it so that they could only parallel park on this street. And they were very upset because they don't have enough parking room without this, because the guy with that garage right there and other people park all along that street. And make it very difficult for them to park at their houses. So I floated the idea with this person who I was talking to about doing a parking permit. You know, the potential solution that we would have would be to do a parking permit. And I just want to throw it out there to council that we're going to look into that idea. This is something where they would have to come to the office to get a permit, prove that they live there, and then they would get a permit. And you could decide, you can just design a permitting system many different ways. You can give it to them for free. You can charge them $25 for a parking permit, or you could give them the first one for free, and then the second one is maybe $50, or what have you. And you can manage this many different ways, but we need to look into it further. But one of the reasons it's happening is we have not been able to cut back those trees or manage the vegetation because people are parking in people's property. And it also is frustrating for the people that's their backyard. And now people are basically pulling into their backyard as a method of parking. They've been doing this for years, but eventually something's going to break. So we want to deal with it proactively.
What if you have a guest though, that comes to your house or one of those buildings, then where would they park?
They could park beyond the permitting area. We could talk, they could have guest passes. There could be a lot of different solutions to that. So, yeah.
It's just like Shady Side that has parking permits, the green signs, okay.
Yep.
We're talking about that for essentially a single block. And there's like 2 or 3 properties.
There are actually, if you look at it, there's probably like 20 units there.
I know, but on the other side, the properties on the other side.
There's
where
several,
people are parking,
yep, but-
there's really only a few.
And
that
what's
back
been
on
happening
the
is
street.
we've been spending borough money to go and cut their back hedges because they can't access them. So we're spending money to do that, to make sure that their vegetation is cut back because they can't get to it themselves.
Could they put up a barrier?
Yeah, but then they would be required to do that? Why would we would force homeowners to do that?
No, I mean, I don't think we should force, it seems like a lot to look into a whole parking permit
And the other,
to keep people from parking on 3 properties.
I
Do
agree,
we have
and
other ways of addressing that?
also these units each have parking, they have driveways.
they have
And-
single driveways, yeah.
Those are garages? too,
Yeah.
in there?
Well, and this is.
So you get 3 cars, one in the garage, 2 in the driveway. I think this is more preference versus practicality. So.
Well, what's also in addition happening, that you see a person has a pool there,
Yeah,
when all his friends come over, when they have that fills up that entire place and that people are having to walk up the street to park. I mean, it's up to you. I mean, right now, the illegal parking, we could also just ask them not to illegally park. We could send a letter and see what happens, but
I would just draw parallel parking lines and say, here's your parking pattern moving forward.
Yeah.
That seems,
That's what I was gonna do until I got a very upset resident. So,
whatever you do, they're gonna be upset.
yep,
I just to make sure I'm looking at it correctly, it's basically, if say pool, Leon's, the garage, and not just the garage, and then right in front of those cars, is that,
those cars are illegally parked.
Yeah.
Those, you notice they're taking up a whole lane of
Yes,
traffic essentially, yep.
yeah, I kinda like Vince's idea.
Yeah.
Just do parallel lines.
Yeah,
The
we
owners of those cars are assumed to be. Who's parking?
those residents from those buildings
Okay.
and, yep.
Yeah.
I don't know that. I don't know. That could be just people from the pool. I have no idea who that is right there.
Okay.
But they claim that they have parking issues often. So, I mean, my initial plan was just to write a letter and tell them they have to parallel park. And we can draw the lines and do that.
Start with that and go from there.
Yep.
I was afraid we start permit parking, everyone's gonna hear, oh no, now Crafton's doing permit parking, it's gonna become a lot more work than it needs to be.
Yeah, I mean, I agree we should find some kind of solution. I just feel like that's something that is likely to be repeated elsewhere, and you could technically park on anyone's property anywhere in the borough illegally. And is our solution just going to be permit parking everywhere?
Yeah, I mean, my
everywhere
first
so
solution
that
was,
nobody can illegally
my
park on
first,
someone else's property?
my first solution was doing exactly what you guys said, which is
Mhm.
make it parallel. But when I talked to residents and they asked me to bring it to you, so I'm bringing it to you. And that's why I suggested permit parking, because that's a less obtrusive way, and it's a fairly simple process to run. You just pass an ordinance that says you have to have a permit to park in this area. We did it when I worked in Etna, so. It's not a very difficult process to do, but it's one solution for people that are saying that the problem isn't just that people aren't parking in their driveways, because I asked them that too. I said, why don't you park in your own driveway in your garage? Most people have more than one car. But it's also that the people at that garage and other people are parking there. In fact, the people at the next apartment building over end up parking over there for whatever reason. I don't know what reason, but they do. But we can absolutely start with, I can send them a letter and we can look at lining that side of the street.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I'll take that. And then the next couple of updates, we did select Cloud Permit to be our new code software. It'll cut our annual cost more than in half from what we're using now. It's much more functional. So we're looking at being able to use a lot of our forms and permits, and it'll be online payments and an online system. So we're looking forward to that moving forward. Crafton was just granted the use of craftonborough.gov. So we're official.
That's awesome.
And that also confirms that we are the only Crafton in the country. So the one and only. And also we are selecting Munibit as our new website provider. It is a nice functional website that is very inexpensive. It's $100 a month. Probably one of the cheapest websites out there, but it's specifically designed just for municipalities. So it's not going to be a very fancy design. It's going to be very simple, but it's going to have the ability to do reservations right online. Will they have places for our meetings and agendas, and it really is designed just for municipal use. So we're moving forward with that.
On C on the cloud permit.
Yep.
What about our email addresses? Is that only the borough website will now be craftonborough.gov?
Yeah, everything, email addresses will change.
Will change too, so ours will.
Yeah, everything, those are all changed. That is a fairly easy process because you'll be linked to your other one for like a year. And then it'll naturally go to the new. Yeah. We'll give you a lot more information before we actually roll it out. I mean, that's a big change.
We didn't even pay the invoice yet. It just got approved today. Yeah.
Well, no, that's unrelated to the Munibit. That, I mean, it's just
not Munibit. Yeah, the iCloud.
Yeah. Okay. All right, on to the next item. The next item is kind of a perfunctory thing that we didn't know we had to do, which is appoint me as the authorized contact person for Crafton Borough to the Southwest Allegheny Tax Collection District. Until we do this, I can't get access to our data. So I'd like a motion to appoint Jim Price as the authorized contact person for Crafton Borough to the Southwest Allegheny County Tax Collection District.
So moved.
Ms. Bolenbacher,
Second.
Ms. Bukownik, any discussion or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Okay. Thank you. The next thing I'd like to share, and I didn't bring it with me. I need to go.
It's in the email.
I can't, can you pull up your email? Yeah. Question. I don't know if I did my.
Maybe you want to skip to the next one.
Yeah, I'll go to the next one as
So
we're,
that
yeah.
everybody's not looking.
Yeah, okay, the next thing is, I need to amend May 23rd, the eminent domain ordinance that we passed. The ordinance was incorrectly marked as 1678 and should have been 1679. So I'd like a motion to correct ordinance number for the ordinance passed at the May 23rd meeting from the number 1678 to the number 1679.
So moved.
Mr. Koenig, oh, Mr. Manila. Any
Any date
questions?
on this one?
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? No. All right, motion passes.
That's quick. All right. Thank you. All right. And then the next thing, while he's pulling that up, or do you get it? Oh, you got it. Okay. So,
But maybe take off the email if you can't download it.
there you go.
Of course, I have to. Drives me crazy.
We need more windows. I think it's the very bad.
Right. So we have done extensive outreach on this process, on the logo process. We had all council members go through a process of limiting it down to, I think we got down to 6, and then we got down to 3, and then we put those 3 out to the public for a survey. We got 75 responses, and it was no clear winner. And we got lots of kind of mixed messages, and one of the logos we had to remove just because of something that was in it. We ended up removing that, and in those comments, though, there was what?
Trying to share. Sorry, Jim.
Yeah, yeah, it's still trying to.
Just needed my.
Okay, so, you get it?
Yep.
Okay, so then in that conversation, a couple of people who responded, and also I spoke with Mike about this, who has a creative career. Focus groups were brought up as a better way to finalize the selection. So Mike Tedesco and I set up focus groups internally with Crafton, with artists and marketers who live here in Crafton. And then we set up another one with regional people, and we gave them the 3 top choices which included this one at that point. And this one was by far the one that people chose. It's young, it's vibrant, it's a little different than most municipal logos, and it was very well thought of. So we wanted to put this forth for approval for Crafton's new logo. So with that, I'd like to get is there any discussion or questions about it?
Did you see my initial response to the?
I did,
one?
yep.
Was there any?
And we can-
feedback on that?
Yeah, we can still adjust, make some small adjustments like that. Yeah, and he worked with us on that. Yeah.
Will this be final, or will this be going to the public again?
No, this will be final.
And my only questions about the colors,
Mhm.
kind of make me think of a pumpkin.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure I love the colors.
That was my comment too. I like the colors, but it also doesn't really say Crafton to me. One of the thoughts I had is I wonder if the orange could be a little bit more like a terracotta, like our brick and historic color.
Yeah.
They did work with a few different colors, make them a little different. We could have them darken it up a little bit, yeah.
In the one image, like, is it a path for everyone part of that, or just the top part?
Path for everyone is part of it, because the design is based on, a path coming off of the F and the T and the trails we have around the borough and the idea behind that. We can also, there's many different, they actually sent me more versions of it. You know what, I am gonna pull up my email so you can see those. I forgot they had done this.
That's what I'm feeding it up and then some like that.
So now it's more.
I'm not getting my.
Steps. I'm trying to see how to get there from the house. Alright. These are things I didn't even know were in our backyard. You know what I mean?
Okay. Here we go in several different use cases. Let me share this. Okay. When it's on a more horizontal thing, you can have a path for everyone come up sign. On a cup. Signs, t-shirts. In weight scale. With,
Share screen.
it should be, it is sharing, I thought. Is it
Oh,
not?
okay. The second.
Okay, yeah, it should be sharing.
Got it. Got it.
This is, you could have it say public police department, rec board, you could have that itemized for each department. If you have it on a, we have red trucks, you could do it like this on a red truck. Or on yellow, you could do it like this.
So, for discussion, any discussion or thoughts?
I will say I appreciate all the work that everyone's been putting into this. I don't think I ever would have thought it would have taken this long to come up with this. I understand the importance of having a strong brand, so yeah, I think seeing it on different, in different views is helpful.
So, I mean, for me, when I looked at it, a couple things. One is thought it said Crafton, because I didn't get that the T was there. I thought it crossed the F, but not, it looks like an L. for that, so I didn't get Crafton, I got Crafton.
Now I see Crafton too.
Yeah, so that's one thing. The second thing is we did the public comment with 3 different designs, and now if we go with, the public hasn't seen this. Oh, okay, this is the one they chose. They asked about these other 3.
How much feedback did we get from the public from the first 3?
We got 75 responses and none of them, but the problem was, it was all of the board. Some didn't like them, some liked them, so it wasn't useful information.
Yeah.
And that's why and that's what was discussed, a few of the commenters were like, you should never do a survey for something that's creative like this. It's really like
You should go
focus
with the
groups
creative
and,
community.
yeah, exactly.
I like the logo. I mean, I do agree that with the colors kind of,
Seeing it on
I
the side
wouldn't
of the
mind
car,
tweaking them a little,
yeah,
but.
seeing it on the side of the cars and stuff, I liked it more for sure.
Mhm.
I'm still, I mean, if everyone else likes the colors, I just don't love the orange and green.
No, yeah, the colors definitely are a little bit rough.
But I liked it the more I saw it on like the sides of the doors and things like that. It definitely, I liked it a lot more just seeing how it was going. The input to use.
I'm sure there was a reason, I know there was a reason, but I don't remember if it was just, why did we go into orange?
They just
That
had a
was
lot
just
of
the-
different,
okay,
yeah, a lot of different designs, and it is helpful from a marketing perspective to have a bright color that people recognize.
Yeah.
Owning a color is something that is often talked about in marketing, so that is something that is useful.
Yeah, and I would assume if we go in this direction, like you said, we will have a brand, we will have a logo, and our colors would be, in my mind, these 2 colors. So whenever we do any marketing for ourselves or a PowerPoint or whatever we're doing, it would be these colors, so we've gotta like them.
Mhm.
And colorblind, I can't tell the leaves. That matters.
What color are they to you?
They look just like a shade off of the orange, basically.
I also think that when we do, because the rec board, just does the 15205 t-shirts and things.
Make sure.
Once we do the logo, they wanted to be able to offer that as well. I don't think we have to stick with the colors. For like t-shirts and bags and things like that. I think we can, tweak it for it to be the colors that people want to use.
I also don't love a path for everyone.
Either do I. That doesn't speak to Crafton,
Yeah,
like we don't
we
have
have trails,
paths.
But
We have
no one
some
knows of
trails.
those trails.
Yeah,
Like,
it's,
we aren't known for our amazing trails.
yeah.
That tagline.
I do too.
Well, what if we just dropped it? And just stuck with the logo part?
We could,
I agree.
Do you still
we have a Borough, we have one that has Borough underneath it, yeah.
It didn't have it on, it was like on
There
a
was-
car, or no, it wasn't, no, maybe it wasn't, I thought we had one that didn't have it on it,
Yeah, there are. It says like Borough.
Keep going.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, fig tree.
Like, I feel like it's like a college saying, like a path for everyone.
Yeah.
Crafting college.
I like
Right.
the minutes where I like the.
I liked it, because to me, it kind of like evoked that there's a place for everyone.
Yeah, it felt
And
inclusive.
also it's
Yeah.
inclusive, and also it kind of made me,
And-
it's walkable. There you can walk around.
Right, and it's not meant to be, and that it is meant to be a path, as in a physical path or a path in life, yeah.
I think we have. A lot of people here who think it's come a really long ways, and we like the look of it. I think we have a few different ideas that have come up for maybe some small tweaks. One of the ones I would suggest is could we look at some variations on that orange that might kind of be a little bit more. But a little less garish.
That's a bracelet.
That's one tweak I might suggest.
Fordish.
Or a little less garish. I would love to see something that maybe had a little bit more of like a historical tinge to the orange, and then a bright, the modern green would be a nice contrast. But that's one idea. I don't know if we want to think about other tweaks too.
We also be careful not to get too close to red, because then we're looking at Christmas. Red and green.
Mhm.
Like maybe a terracotta kind of orange. Yeah. Maybe it won't.
So I'll take these suggestions back and bring them back next meeting. Is that what we're proposing?
Yeah, it seems that way.
Okay,
Was there any other, yeah, I just want to say,
I do think it looks really nice. I know a lot of work has been put into this and a lot of like ideas and input have been tested out and it's coming along very well, but. You know, this idea is, I think we're putting a lot of thought into the different ways it could be used and how it'll look in different uses and how it looks to different people and trying to get it right.
And we're down to one design now too, that we're just tweaking is a lot of progress.
Yeah.
And pretty natural way to go through something like this. So we're a big step in the right direction and almost at the finish line.
great.
I still don't think it says Crafton. I didn't see Crafton. I see Crafton.
That's funny, I didn't see that.
Yeah, I
I
didn't
didn't
see
see,
it.
you know, I didn't think of that, I definitely did not see that when I looked at that sign.
Yeah, so that's kind of what I see. So
All right, moving on to the next thing on the agenda. Is the 2025 budget process schedule. It has been laid out. You guys can, I'm not gonna read everyone. You can see what it is there. So if you have any questions, you can let me know. I will be meeting with, I haven't sent yet to the budget to the department heads. I'm off tomorrow for a family emergency, so I will be setting it up next week. And that concludes my report.
we will have to decide about the Thanksgiving. That's not, it'll be far off, it's far off now, but we will have to move that meeting. But we do have the option to meet on Thanksgiving too. So, yeah, no, we can't Zoom because it's a
I won't
meeting,
be
so we
there.
have to all be here. Yeah.
Council
Bring a
for
dish.
dinner.
Yeah, anybody bring a dish, or bring your family. All right. Very good. Finance, administration, sustainability, Miss Perry.
Sure. So, I'd like to put a fine point on the schedule. In that it will need a little refining so that we're aware that we'll be targeting to advertise soon enough to be able to be comfortably passing the budget for 2025 at the December 12th meeting, unless we again want to meet right before Christmas. So that's I just wanted to point that out. I think that it was good in our last meeting that we're already looking at this. We're setting the schedule that administration really seems to have their finger on the pulse and are being very proactive with our budgeting process. So I'm very encouraged by that and looking forward to a smooth budgeting year. So at our last meeting, we did look at the mid-year financial position, and as council person Mike Hof mentioned, who's very involved and active member of our committee, that we've got some stuff over and under, and to his suggestion, the manager has added a column, if any of you are looking at those budgets, that give a little tally on the far right that helps to help us see what the net effect of the various overs and unders that we have, and that administration is driving very consciously towards getting that number to be as close to zero as possible. The manager already mentioned that the budget meetings will be starting with the department heads next week. I don't know if has anybody got any questions about the financial reports or the process that we'll be going through in the coming months.
One of the questions we had, the waste collection RFP publicly on July 19th, how will the public be able to see that?
I will be in this room and I will open the documents or it will be probably online, but you could come see me in this room when I'm opening them at noon.
Opening them.
And I would point out that that's the beginning of the process. That if you recall a number of the meetings in the past where we talked about and looked at the form of the RFP, there are a lot of different scenarios possible, and we'll be looking to analyze them and to put them in a comprehensible form that will allow us to continue discussions and to make an opportunity for the community to weigh in on things. So it's not RFP and then immediately going to award it. Is there anything else, Jim, that you'd like to mention about that?
No, I think you covered it pretty well.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. All right. Anybody got anything else? And I will conclude my report for tonight. Thank you.
Great. Right, infrastructure and land use, Ms. Comptello.
Sure, the zoning ordinance is coming towards the end of its process. This started in 2022. A new updated draft was sent to the Planning Commission a few weeks ago, and then also to the steering committee. The Planning Commission discussed updates at their last meeting, which I think we'll hear more about under that update. And the steering committee also met to talk about the zoning ordinance and give additional comments. So that's going back for another round of edits and moving along towards a final version to go to the public and to council once those edits come in. And we'll have more updates on the final review and adoption process over the next few months. It'll probably be a several month-long process. And then the other update is the Safe Streets for All, SS for All federal grant. We've been looking into this for the past number of months and preparing for the August 29th application deadline. We have been having discussions with surrounding municipalities to go in on to partner on a multi-municipal approach towards that, which will let us make those dollars go further and reduce how much we individually have to provide for the match, which is required, 20% match. We have, I think, 5 municipalities have been interested so far, and the manager is proceeding with the next step of drafting an intergovernmental cooperation agreement and on track to have the application prepared to submit for the August 29th deadline. That is all for my committee.
Any questions? All right, Planning Commission, Mr. Verdella.
I wasn't at the last meeting, be able to speak.
Yeah, and actually, Pearson basically just updated very similarly. The Planning Commission met on June 25th and discussed the new new zoning ordinance. We'll be giving direction to them at the next meeting as to what the whole process and layout will look like.
Communication Recreation, Ms. Bollenbacher.
First off, I want to thank the rec board and their volunteers for the July 4th celebration. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to make it, but my understanding was it went off very well despite the heat and the torrential downpour right before the fireworks. But everything turned out great. So thank you, everybody who helped make that happen. Next up is our next senior dinner. We're actually going to make it a senior dinner and more of a community dinner as well. We'd like, other people to participate. Everybody in the community is welcome. It is a 70s disco themed dinner. The doors open at 5. Dinner will be at 5:30. We are going to have DJ White Claw as our entertainment. We're going to have some video trivia. We're going to have some music bingo. And we're going to give away prizes for, best costume, best strut, a couple other things. So tickets as always are $10. And you can go to the Borough website to purchase the tickets. And tickets are available through the 26th of July. So I hope to see a lot of you there. And as usual, we're always looking for volunteers. This is only about a 2-hour event, so it's not a lot of time, but it is a lot of fun. So if you can help, we would greatly appreciate it. Next up is the Fall Fest, which is Saturday, September 28th. It's gonna run from 1 to 6. Some of the entertainment that we already have booked includes axe throwing, a balloon house, inflatable obstacle course. It is different from the one last year. The kiddos, there was a wall in the middle of last year's that proved to be a problem for a lot of the kids, so we got a different one, so it's a little easier, so mom and dad don't have to go in and rescue the kids. We also have face painting, a balloon artist. We have a band, they're called the Corn Liquor Saints. They're coming to play music throughout the day. And we are working to try to secure a chainsaw carver. We haven't been able to do it yet, so don't hold your breath. I'm not sure if that's gonna happen, but we're gonna try. And then, of course, we also have our spin art and our lawn garden, or excuse me, our lawn games. We've got a few food vendors, but we're definitely looking for more. So if anybody knows any food vendors who would like to participate, as well as craft vendors, we're still accepting applications for both. And again, volunteers. If you volunteer, it doesn't have to be all day. It's not from 1 to 6. You can volunteer for 1 hour. You can volunteer for 2 hours, however long you want. But even if you can volunteer for a single hour, it would be greatly appreciated. So anybody who is available to do so, you can go to the Borough website and let the rec board know. They would really, truly appreciate the help. Because they get a lot in there, but it's hard finding people to help, cover all the fun. So that's it in terms of details. And then, of course, just our regulars. I'll have more details with these others as they come up. Of course, we have our haunted Crafton. It starts with the trunk or treat in the park. That's going to be on Saturday, October 19th, and the Haunted Crafton tour is going to run through Halloween night, which is, I think, Thursday, the 31st. We have our Celebration of Lights, December 7th. That's a Saturday. We have our Christmas House tour, which will be Sunday, December 15th. So we got a lot coming up. Our rec board is working super hard, so I'm very proud of them. Our logo update we already gave, so there's nothing else for me to add to that one. Our next newsletter with the new format and publisher will be coming in early August, so you'll see that in the next few weeks. And that's really it. So thanks very much.
Thanks.
Unless anybody has any questions.
Fourth of July event was very well attended.
And one thing I forgot to mention, the miniature golf on the 4th actually at one point ran out of golf clubs.
did,
70
yeah.
people were playing, so.
Yep, there
That
was a
was-
line of people out
Yeah.
waiting for the golf clubs,
Yeah,
and
so
Mary was,
really,
yes, well, thrilled and stressed. but
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
that's it.
Okay, well, thanks to the rec board, of course, for another great event. The petting zoo, I know there was lines for the balloon making and the face painting out the door.
Yeah, they
and,
felt terrible when they had to.
yeah,
cut
they
that
shut
off
it down
because-
and
Yeah,
then-
they had to shut it down at
Yeah.
a certain point. And we're incredibly disappointed. So next year, they're actually gonna look into extending the hours, so
Yeah.
they don't have to do that.
And the petting zoo went away quickly, and there was turtles and everything else, so,
The animals were safely put away before the
Yes.
fireworks.
Mhm. all right.
The fireworks were amazing. Really
Very
good
nice.
fireworks this year.
I think they lasted about 20 plus minutes.
Definitely at least 20,
Yeah, it's-
maybe even longer. I agree. Like they started like at 9:35 is when we were scheduled. And it stopped raining probably like at 9:28. It was, I know rain isn't great, but I agree. Like they ended 5 till 10. Like they were, it was a long fireworks display. They were nice.
And the rain did just start, like, right before them. It was just-
Thank goodness we had that tent, so we were able to stay dry. But people still were in line for the food trucks, so.
Good, all right, commission vacancy, municipal housing.
Thanks. So, good news is we have continued to do a really good job of when there's a vacancy of getting that filled. We had 1 seat available in the planning commission. We had some really wonderful applicants, some really good interviews, but we decided to, go in the direction of one particular person. So, I would like to, appoint AJ Piskurik, I think I'm saying it correctly, to the planning commission. So I'm gonna make a motion to appoint AJ Piskurik to the planning commission for a term that will expire on April 13th, 2025.
Second.
Ms. Bollenbacher's the first, and Ms. Compatello second. Discussion or questions?
Pam was the first.
Yeah, I said I'd like to make it. I didn't mean to
Okay.
say it that way.
Yeah.
I would
And then-
like to call for a motion, so I'm sorry. I
Yeah,
just said
she's
that wrong.
calling. Is it on?
Sorry, I'm.
Second, Ms. Costello. All right, any discussions or questions? No, AJ is our vacancy chair also. So she, if we wouldn't be able, if somebody would leave the council and we wouldn't be able to fill that position as a council, she would appoint that person into it. And she can hold that seat along with the planning
Yes.
commission. There are other commission seats that you cannot have too.
Correct. Correct. Okay, and,
All
I'm sorry.
all in favor?
My-
Opposed? Motion passes.
Okay, and the next one is, I'd like, I hope I say this correctly, to make a motion to appoint Lynn Nichols to the Civil Service Commission for a term that will expire on July 1st, 2030.
So moved.
Ms. Bolenbacher?
Second.
Ms. Costello, any discussions? This is a 6-year term. Okay, so that's why it goes out already to 2030.
Sorry, God, go ahead.
Ms. Buchanan, you're jumping ahead of our.
Feel like once we get those so moved in seconds, I'm ready to keep moving. Keep moving.
All in favor? Opposed? Okay, motion passes. You may go.
Thank you. So you can see currently we have no open positions. Those two that we just appointed filled what was available. So we will have more positions coming up later throughout the year, some rec board zoning hearings. So I continue to encourage folks to keep their eyes on Savvy Citizen, on our ways we communicate those vacancies as they come, because we have amazing residents that like to apply, and we want to keep that going. So currently no more vacancies are available. So.
And I don't think we've ever been at that spot where we have been 100% filled on all commissions. So great work to Pam and Vince and everybody else involved with this committee. Thank you. All right. Council of Government, Ms. Bolenbacher.
The COG is currently on summer break, so there is no report. The next meeting will be Thursday, September 19th at 6:30 in Kennedy.
Thanks. Okay, upcoming community events. Our next council meeting is in 2 weeks on July 25th at 7. Pool passes are still available, and the pool's been extremely active with the hot weather and no rain. And mini golf is open on Friday and Saturday nights from 7 to 9 for $2 per person. Anybody else have any community announcements? Public comment at this time. Citizens may address the Crafton Borough Council on any issue. Only residents and taxpayers of the Borough of Crafton will be permitted to address the council. Speakers will be permitted to speak for a maximum of 3 minutes. Groups of people will be required to designate a spokesperson to represent them before the council, who may speak for a maximum of 5 minutes. Council has the option to respond or not at the end of the address. Please state your name and physical address for the record. Do we have anybody in person? Okay. Anybody on, nope, there's nobody on Zoom. Okay. Except Coletta doesn't, and she's
Yep, she
on
was
the
there.
other side. Oh, okay. With that, meeting is adjourned at 8:05.